Good evening. My name is Hellhound, and welcome to my show. Let's see. I already reviewed all my favorite entries from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, the Halloween series, the Freddy series, and I ended up doing all the Jason movies, and I even did my favorites of the Chucky series as well. So, what should we take a look at today? Let's look through my library here. Oh, I know. I got a good one for you guys. How about the original Evil Dead? Yeah. One of my all-time favorites. Oh, yeah. Here we go. This is a good one, yeah. The Evil Dead from 1982. It was actually filmed in the late 70s, I guess 79, I believe, but it wasn't really, I guess it took a while to finish, and it wasn't properly released until 82. Filmed on a very low budget by director Sam Raimi, who's easily one of my favorite directors of all time. He's just amazing. He can pretty much do no wrong. Oh gosh, I mean, what is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said? It's part of a great trilogy. Evil Dead 2 actually happens to be my favorite movie of all time, but we'll get to that in the next video. I guess I'll review all three of them. But yeah, well, first off, let me say this is one of the only movies I can think of that perfectly balances horror and gore. There's hardly any movies I can really think of that manage to be both really scary and really gory at the same time. I mean, when you think about it, most horror films that are have large amounts of blood and gore aren't really scary. They're usually more campy, more cheesy, like Dead Alive. That was almost a cartoon. Great movie, one of my favorites, but it wasn't really scary. The mutated undead mother at the end of the film kind of scared me when I was really little. I probably watched it when I was way too young, but I mean, it's not really scary. It's just, more funny than anything. And Reanimator, that's another one that's really gory, but it's not really, it's not really scary. Evil Dead actually, the original The Evil Dead actually has a lot of really scary moments. It can actually get pretty terrifying. Alright, well, let's look at the storyline. We have 5 friends who are probably in college, taking a vacation to a rundown cabin in the woods. We have Ash Williams, played by Bruce Campbell. We have his girlfriend Linda, played by Betsy Baker. We have Scotty, played by Richard DeManicore, though he goes by Hal Delrick in this movie for some reason. He goes under a fake name. I guess he didn't want people to know who he really was. So he came with the name Hal Delrick. Then we have Teresa Tilly playing Scotty's girlfriend Shelley, though she goes by Sarah York in this movie. I'm sorry. Shelley. Yeah, Teresa Tilly playing Shelley, and she goes by Sarah York. And then we have Ash's sister Cheryl, played by Ellen Sandweiss, I believe her name is. Ellen Sandweiss. I think I got that right. Let's see. Yeah, Bruce Campbell, Ellen Sandweiss, Betsy Baker, Hal Delrick, and Sarah York. Those are both fake names. But anyway, we have Ash, Scott, Linda, Shelley, and Cheryl. They're 5 friends. They're in a cabin in the woods. It's kind of hanging out, having a good time. That'd be my idea of a good time too. I love old creepy places surrounded by woods. That's just, oh gosh, this is awesome. Just the secluded wilderness. Nothing more is more peaceful and relaxing than that. A really ominous and eerie setting too. There's just fog everywhere. It's a great atmosphere. And so that kind of sets the tone for the whole movie because they're just kind of there for a while, just kind of partying, I guess, drinking, playing games. And so, they're in the middle of talking, and then all of a sudden the cellar door opens unexpectedly, and so they go down to investigate. They find all kinds of weird stuff down there. They find a knife made out of what appears to be bone. I don't know if it's really bone, but it's like decorated, it's like a little skull on it. It's a really cool thing. I would love to own that prop, or even one that looks like it. It's like a knife with, you know, a bone design. It's really cool. They found all kinds of. They found you know, a shotgun. They found some, you know, just all kinds of crazy, you know, artifacts down there. That's like, you know, I guess belong to a previous owner. It's not really explained in this movie, but we'll get to that later. But the strangest thing they find is the Necronomicon. In this movie, they actually refer to it as the Naturum Demonto, but whatever you want to call it, it's the Book of the Dead, bound in human flesh and inked in blood. You know, it just contains all kinds of crazy stuff. They look through it and they're just like, wow, you know, take a look at this, check this out. And then they find a tape, which contains an audio recording of somebody translating the book and reading it out loud. Now, so they play the tape. One of the friends, Shelley, freaks out and says, turn it off, but it's too late. The incantations that were read aloud already conjured up some evil spirits, I guess some demons that have been summoned from, you know, the afterlife or hell or something. What I kind of like is it doesn't really go into a huge backstory. You know, it's kind of mysterious. You know, we're not really certain what happened before. We don't know how the book really ended up at the cabin. They kind of go in more in depth in the sequel, but in this movie we don't really know. We just know it's a bunch of friends at a cabin who find a weird book, read it aloud, and it's, well, the tape recorder reads it aloud anyway. Some professor on the tape. He's not given a name in this one, but we're just talking about the first Evil Dead here, by the way. So a lot more is explained in the sequels. But anyway, yeah, it awakens some, you know, demonic spirits. And slowly, one by one, the friends get possessed by these spirits and become, you know, evil, demonic, zombie-like creatures who float in the air and talk in deep demonic voices and grow claws and have, you know, red eyes and, you know, everything. They start to mutate and just get worse and worse the more you see them. You know, and so Scotty, who's kind of the more heroic of the two males, kind of takes matters in his own hands. And he tells Ash, he's like, we got to fight back against these demons. You know, so they lock Shelley, who's the first one to get possessed. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, she was previously attacked in the woods. You know, all kinds of vines grabbed her, and she was held down and seemingly raped by a possessed tree. Definitely a very bizarre and horrific scene. This movie's full of scary moments. And so, yeah, Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, and Scott, played by Richard Demanicore, or Hal Delrick, if he wants to call himself. Yeah, kind of team up. They grab the axe from the basement and or cellar. Sorry, and Shelley's the first to possess. They lock her in the cellar. They actually end up having to hack Cheryl, who was Scotty's girlfriend. They had to hack her to shit. I got their names wrong, didn't I? I did. I got their names wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Cheryl, Ash's sister, is the one in the cellar, and Shelley is Scotty's girlfriend, is the one who gets hacked to bits. Oh, my bad. I got the names confused. They're kind of similar. Can you blame me, Cheryl and Shelley? They're kind of similar. Sorry, my bad. The important thing is one of the possessed friends gets locked in the cellar, and the other one gets hacked up with an axe. And it's really, really gory. She starts spitting what looks like skim milk, blood everywhere. Very gory movie. But yeah, that's the basic premise. You know, so they have to kind of fight their way. Scotty actually turns out to be kind of a coward. He kind of wants to abandon. He leaves the cabin. He abandons the rest, and it just comes up to Ash. He becomes like the lone survivor. He has to take matters in his own hands. He's kind of a coward, not a very fleshed out character. Not yet. They saved that for the sequels, which I'm not going to go into that quite yet. But long story short, Ash becomes my favorite horror protagonist of all time. Bruce Campbell is the friggin' man, and Ash is just the horror character. He's just friggin' awesome, but not quite yet in this movie. So I'll save that for my Evil Dead 2 review. Anyway, yeah, so Ash has got to fight off these his possessed friends who, you know, his girlfriend gets possessed, and one of the scariest parts when she her zombie you know, possessed makeup, she looks like something like an evil doll. She starts singing, "We're gonna get you." And it's pretty creepy, you You know, this movie does have some scary moments. It really, Sam Raimi really did a good job creating the right amount of suspense and atmosphere and setting the tone. It's all kinds of weird shots and just, you know, weird camera angles, little things that, like, you know, people might not notice. Somebody, you know, as analytical as I am, of course, picked up on some of these things, like the clock spinning around, you know, the hands on the clock just spinning, you know, by itself, seemingly showing that the night just never ends. There's all kinds of things just thrown in there, like just little things that, you know, really make the movie that much more effective. It's just a very brilliant filmmaking. They really did a good job with this with a very, very low budget. I mean, there's a lot of hokey effects here and there. Like, hell, you see the camera moving towards the cabin, even the tree limbs are hitting the camera and everything. Has a very amateurish quality. It just feels like a bunch of friends got a video camera and went in the woods and filmed it. But honestly, that really adds to how effective it is. It really works to the film's advantage. It's kind of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, directed by Tobe Hooper. Kind of similar in that from that filmmaking point of view, I guess. But yeah, everything's just so effective. Gosh, the setting is just perfect. Such a feeling of isolation and dread. Like, they explained the path in the woods was just like they couldn't find it, like it just disappeared, and like they're just alone, just surrounded by nothing but trees, endless forest as far as the eye can see. There's just no escape. It just seems so hopeless, and really adds to the sense of dread. It just, you know, just a perfect feeling it gives you. There's like really no humor in this movie either. Maybe, you know, nowadays it's kind of fun to laugh at some of the cheesy effects, but I love them all. I think they all look great. I mean, sometimes the costumes, you know, you can tell how they did them, and you know, you can tell how they did some of the gore, skim milk, Alpo dog food, oatmeal. They used a lot of crazy stuff, but as I said, it was on a very low budget. But you know, and most of it takes place at night too, and you know, really enhances that. And I love the stop animation sequence at the end. I guess this would be a spoiler warning right here, but at the very end, it shows two of the possessed people rapidly decomposing and just melting into goo. And it's claymation. It just looks fantastic. Some people say it's really dated, and it is. You can tell it's fake, but I just think it looks awesome. I think it just really adds the surreal quality of the film. You know, just the atmosphere. Just it's just such a dreary movie. It's kind of a cruel streak, and it never really lets up. The horror just starts, it grabs you by the balls, and it just never lets go through the whole movie. You know, it really stays with you after you see it. I was just blown away by this when I first watched it. I could not wait to see the sequel, and we'll get to that in my next video. But oh yeah, this movie is just so well made. I absolutely love it. I mean, gosh, what more can I say? Yeah, we'll get into more about Bruce Campbell's character Ash. You know, Bruce Campbell is an actor and Ash is a character. We'll talk about that more in my next video. But in this movie, you know, he was just kind of he just happened to be lucky enough to be the survivor. And yeah, he's forced to, another spoiler warning, he's forced to throw the book of the dead into the fireplace where it kind of burns to a crisp, and that's what causes the remaining possessed zombies to rapidly melt. Yeah, really crazy. He's forced to decapitate his possessed girlfriend Linda too. Lots of blood and gore. This is easily the goriest of the trilogy, and the scariest too, for sure. And yeah, as I said, there's little to no laughs. It's mostly nothing but scares and just a feeling of dread, a dreary atmosphere. Just, oh gosh, this is a perfect horror movie. Just, this is how you make a horror movie. Like, if there was like a film class or something in a, you know, a college class that was teaching you like cinematic studies or something, they're like, okay, this is how you make a horror movie. Just put in this movie. Just put in Evil Dead and say, there, that's how you make a horror movie, you know. And as I said, the amateurish quality. I think Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, they were good friends, by the way, and they worked together throughout the, you know, the next few, you know, decades and decades to come. Or I mean, yeah, they've always been good friends in a lot of movies together, is what I mean. And I think they're really. I think Sam Raimi was really young when he first started to work on The Evil Dead as well. There's actually a movie that preceded this called I think it was called Within the Woods. That was what Sam Raimi did before. That was like his I believe his college, his film class movie that he made, like for his final project or whatever, and that's what this was kind of based on. I've actually seen that footage too. Yeah, it's pretty good, pretty interesting to see. You know, after you've watched The Evil Dead all these years. But of course, The Evil Dead is way superior. It was definitely they definitely perfected that formula. But yeah, what more can I say about this awesome movie? You know, I just love it. Everything. It was such a great storyline too. They really did a good job when they wrote this. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. I could go on and on. There's probably a lot of things I should have mentioned, but this video is reaching the 16-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Well, that's The Evil Dead from 1982, directed by Sam Raimi. I actually think it was released in 1981. It definitely takes place in or no, I guess it was 82. It definitely takes place in like 79, though. The summer of 79, I think, is probably when they filmed most of it. I think a lot of the actors left, and then they filmed the rest of it, which is Campbell and a bunch of random people putting the costumes on. But anyway, yeah, that's The Evil Dead, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell. Excellent horror film, highly recommended, and the next time you watch my show, we'll be talking about the sequel, so stay tuned for that. I got a lot to say about that one, being my favorite movie in all time. Favorite movie of all time and all, So, until then, I'm Hellhound, and thank you for watching my show. Peace.